Hi, I'm Russell Payne, and we're here for the Vindicators Candidate Spotlight segments. Today, we're going to sit down with Bobby Tillman, Democratic candidate for Senate District 3. And real quick, before we get into that, just want to go over some information. Voters registration deadline, if you are not registered to vote, is February the 2nd. Early voting, February 17th. Election day, March the 3rd. And we will have candidate forums for Congressional District 3 and Senate District 3 contested races on the February the 11th at 6 p.m. at the Dayton Community Center. The following night, on February the 12th, we will have Liberty County Commissioners Precinct 2 and 4, as well as the 75th and 253rd District Judge races, again at 6 p.m. at the Dayton Community Center. And well, with that, Mr. Tillman, you are unopposed in the Democratic primary for Senate District 3.
That is correct.
I'm going to introduce yourself to folks.
Right. Hello, guys. I'm Bobby Tillman. I'm a fifth-generation East Texan. My family came over here in 1880 and established a bunch of land. How they really got it, I'm not real sure, but I live on a small little ranch here raising cattle. I've spent 40 years in the commercial flooring industry, crawling on my knees, laying carpet basically, but we do any kind of flooring. And then the last 15 years I got into raising Black Angus. So that's pretty much my income now, is raising the cattle. I'm not a beef producer per se. I sell calves, at the auction house and stuff. I do everything by myself. I got into politics because I just don't like the way things are going in East Texas. I mean, I think that they're treating it like Austin and Houston and stuff like that. And I think that we're a unique community in East Texas. And I want to stand up and be a voice for Austin, and a voice for East Texas in Austin. And then I'm just here trying to do the best I can. So.
Well, again, you'll be unopposed in the March primaries. So correct. You will be on the ballot in November, facing either Rhonda Ward or Trent Ashby.
That is correct.
I do not believe there's any independent candidates.
Not yet. But like I said, I show all the respect for them. Anybody running for candidate is, got all my respect in the world, because it's a really hard job. I mean, it's tough to do, and you're looking at my entire campaign staff right here. And they just did their local reporting or whatever, and they're running like $2 million in their budget. I not only have $2 million in my budget, I won't ever have that in my budget, but I would never ask my voters for that either. I just think it's wrong to me. I feel like they're buying your vote. You're out spending all that money, and this job only pays $7,200 a year. So to spend $2 million to get this position, make it make sense to me. I mean, you can't make it make sense. So
it definitely is an expensive foray.
It is very expensive.
It's politics, right?
It's politics, and like I said, I got to quit saying I'm not a politician anymore, because I'm knee deep in it. Right. But I didn't aspire to be a politician. I never aspired to be a senator. I never lived my life to be in politics. I just wanted to, be a normal person, hard-working person, and retire, and just be able to make it. And now it's like everybody's living week to week and paycheck to paycheck, and I can't sit by and just let it sit there and not at least try.
That's right. So. This is a large district. For those who are not familiar, Liberty County is just one of, I'm going to tell you this wrong, 18 counties. And saying that, I don't even know how many square miles it is, but it's huge. I mean, I drove 4 hours just to get here for this interview. Right. And every day when I drive, it's 3 to 4 hours. I live in Henderson County, so it's way at the very, very top of the district. 18 counties. They have been served by Robert Nichols since 2007.
Correct.
A Republican. He has, I guess, in recent years, kind of butted heads at times, even with some of the more staunch conservative Republicans. But it's still been a Republican district.
That is correct.
During this time period. As a Democratic candidate, what will you do to appeal? Because you will have to appeal to voters that generally vote Republican in November.
I'm just going in as common sense. I mean, so far I've met, not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of people, and even people that are not in the district. This school voucher stuff is it seems like the biggest scam that I've ever heard of. I've done research on it. Like I said, I'm not a scholar on it, but there's 300,000 students that are already in the private school districts, and there's 100,000 available scholarships. You're gonna have to prove it to me. If you think that they're gonna give these lower income families half the tuition to go to school instead of the kids that are already in school, I think you're mistaken. So I think that's what they're doing, is they're just giving the rich people, they're just giving them breaks, and paying for it. Because they say it's like supposed to be 500 below the average low-income family or something, percentage income they make. They're going to get half a tuition. How are they going to pay for the other half? So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then you look at East Texas, and, I know it's early in the stage, but right now I think there's like one school in Senate District 3, and it's over in Beaumont, and it's a Christian school, and there's other religions and Christianity here that need to be taught. So that's where I'm going there. And then healthcare. You can be Republican, Democrat, you can be the healthcare system, not just the insurance and all that. That's a whole other deal. That's above my pay grade. But when you start talking about these rural hospitals, the rural hospitals are shutting down because we didn't accept the Medicaid expansion. And, if you just go to Trinity, up in Trinity County, they're already shutting them down, already have, and they're going to shut down more. And not just the ones that are open, but the ones that are open, they're cutting their benefit, their ability to take care of you. Like a lot of the maternity wards are gone, so you have to go to other districts or other hospitals. And East Texas is large, and so to get medical help, it's almost impossible. You have a heart attack, out in the rural area, and you're just going to die. I mean, that's basically what the health benefit plan is for East Texas. Don't get sick. So, period. I mean, that's it. So, I want to support the veterans. I'm big. My son's a veteran. I'm not a veteran. Somebody, thought that I was when I was talking. I'm not a veteran. My son's a veteran from the National Guard of Texas, and is a veteran of the United States military as a tanker, 19 kilo. And I see what his friends go through, and not my son personally, but some of his other friends, and they go through it. They need some mental health, some mental health issues. 22 soldiers a day die. That's unacceptable. I mean, and my understanding, and I may be wrong, but my understanding is the closest mental access they have is either San Antonio or Shreveport. So there's nothing here in East Texas for them. The volunteer fire departments, they don't get the right funding that they need. They used to have some volunteer fire departments with volunteer EMSs. They've shut all of them down except for, my understanding, there's 2 left in Shelby County. So I've stopped and talked to them. They have to fill out their ESD forms, or I think it's ESD forms to get funding. And he said, we missed it. I said, why'd you miss it? He goes, man, we work. We just forgot. We didn't fill it out in time, and now we don't have any money. So they do hot dog, sales and stuff like that, and barbecues just to get fundraisers. To me, that's just wrong. That's East Texas. You live in East Texas, you're going to get help from volunteer fire departments. We don't live in these big cities. You don't, Houston and Dallas, and even you get bigger, Lufkin and Henderson and Tyler, all those, which Tyler's not in my district, but still they're bigger cities. They have fire departments. You get down here, I don't know about you guys here, and I haven't looked at this county, Trinity here, but you probably have a volunteer fire department somewhere.
We have, there's like 16 in the county. There are 2 full-time departments in Liberty and Cleveland.
Yeah. And so they're not getting any money to, you have a heart attack. There's the platinum 10 rule. You get 10 minutes to get established, whatever, then you have an hour to get to the hospital, for trauma. Where I live at, it's 45-minute drive to the hospital. So if I have a heart attack, somebody doesn't get to me real quick, then I'm just, I'm over, it's dead. So.
What do you think you'll bring to the table if you were in Austin?
What I bring to the table is I'm not in this for me. I mean, this is something that like I said, I didn't aspire to be a politician. I just want to be the voice of East Texas. I'm not going to go in there going, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. I want what East Texas wants. And, that's what I'm going to go for. But I think that everybody deserves a right, human rights. I believe in unions. Unions built the United States. We need stronger unions. We need better education. Education pretty much trumps everything. That goes into saying, if you're educated, you have a better ability to make money, to live better, and be more knowledgeable about everything. Educations are key. That brings more economic prosperity to the East Texas, and it brings better jobs because people are smarter. The corporations here, they're paying minimum wage, but people are still living on SNAP benefits. That's just wrong. The corporations are the ones that are going to benefit from these kids that are educated. So why wouldn't you educate your kids? I mean that's bottom line. Our children are our future. You can be naive or say whatever. You're like, oh, I'm a hard worker. Your kids are what's going to build the rest of the world.
The argument, I guess, could be said for vouchers or these investment, whatever we call them, accounts. The argument is that there is a problem with education in Texas.
Oh, there's
right?
definitely, but it's from funding. Where do you think the voucher money's coming from?
Well, and so how would you reapply that to what would you do? And and of course, we've gotten rid of the STAR test here recently.
Well, yeah, but they just replaced it with another test. So I mean, it's when my kid went to school, that's all they did was teach him how to test. They didn't teach him nothing. He had a hard time reading and all that stuff. I had to, get him supplemental classes and tutoring stuff to help him read, because all they're concerned about, the teachers get graded on the test, on how well that the kids test. That's how they get their grade. They need to go back to teaching. I don't know about you. When you were growing up, did you do all these tests?
We did have them. We were the beginning.
We had that little bubble test that
we were the beginning of the test, I think.
Yeah,
but,
I'm old enough now. We just did the little bubble test, and everybody just went through it, and it was just just kind of a basic test. And I think that was the up and coming testing the kids to see how well they could go with it. And then they started the stars test, and it's just wrong. You need to teach the kids, but you got to teach them young. We need to get universal pre-K here and start teaching the kids to read. I want to do universal child care. And if not universal, I want it to be at least affordable child care, because that's where you're going to teach your kids, how to read and stuff. Your ABCs, your basic ABCs need to start when they're 3, 4, 5 years old, not when they're 7, 8, 9 years old, teaching them to read. But I want to bring education back to the schools, back to the school districts, and make the school districts local and have local control. I don't believe that the children in Beaumont and the children in Houston are the same type of children, because they're raised in different. This is urban and this is more rural areas and stuff. So they have different children. You need different teachers. You need different ways to teach them. You need to localize your education and put the money back in them. Raise the allotment. They're giving $10,600 for the voucher system. They're giving $6,000, so it's $6,100 for the student for the whole year. Okay, I mean that's just wrong. I mean you take money away from the schools, and you're not going to get the education that you need. I mean that's just common sense. So,
well, with schools, with the difference, the Cleveland ISD, which is a big topic around Liberty County. It is the fastest growing school district in the state of Texas, right. And that in turn is tied to Colony Ridge, which of course is a big issue here. And you would be tackling that issue if in Austin. What do you think you could do for this high growth area that's just come out of nowhere and been a lot of upheaval here, especially?
To me, everything almost pretty much boils down to money. I mean, if you're not giving the teachers the money to teach them, why would you want to be a teacher? I mean, they say, oh, well, they get the summers off. I know lots of teachers, they don't take the summers off. Mm-hmm. They don't, they stay at their schools, they get off at 3:15, but they don't get home till 9 o'clock at night because they're still grading papers. Teachers are the most important people that we have. They're the ones that are teaching our kids. Not only are they teaching our kids, they're kind of babysitting our children while we're at work. Mm-hmm. So when you're taking your kids somewhere, that you need somebody that's a good teacher. And if you're not going to pay your teachers, they're not going to be good teachers. I mean, why get into it? If I can go do this for a living and make twice as much money, then why would I want to deal with, this 24-hour job day? I'm teaching 24 hours, because when they go home, they got to get their lessons planned. These larger, we got to put money, we got to take money and put it back into our school districts. We have to educate our children. The reading level right now, I think, is 61% of America is on a 6th grade reading level, something like that. And 41% of the kids in school can't read at a grade level. That's just unacceptable. And it's, the Republicans, they want to put the 10 Commandments in schools. I want our kids to be able to read the 10 Commandments and understand what they say.
Okay. So we've talked about funding, putting money there to do this. Across the state, there's a push to lower property taxes, bring those bills down. Where do you stand on the?
I stand on eliminating property taxes. I mean, I've been researching. Like I said, for the last 40 years, I've been in the flooring business. I haven't been, trying to study the budget on Texas, but it's having a hard time trying to find exactly where the money's being spent. But I don't think property taxes should be funding our schools. The corporations are the ones that benefit from our children. I think corporations should pay their fair wage. They should start helping us fund our schools and getting them in there, because our kids are going from school to the workforce. Okay, they share a lot of burden of it. The property tax, I'm behind. There was originally a House Bill 2220 It's never got a hearing. I think they've changed the number now because every year they change, different House bills, but it's House Bill 2220 on eliminating property tax, and it goes to a consumption tax and then a value added tax. I haven't read the entire bill, but like I said, I support what I have read of it so far. But like I said, we got to get a hearing. To get a hearing on it, first of all, I can sit here and I can say everything that everybody wants to hear until the lieutenant governor and the governor get changed. I'm useless. Anything that I say will not happen. I can propose any bill that I want to, and if the lieutenant governor doesn't pick it up, then it's dead in the water. So all I can do is just vote, on other bills to get passed because the lieutenant governor picks them, and then the governor signs them. So if you just change the lieutenant governor, then you get a hearing for your bill and it goes through, then the governor just vetoes it. So it's absolutely useless. So I'm just trying to make a change. I'm at I believe it's 82% Republican to 18% Democrat Party and SD3. Mm-hmm. It's an uphill battle. But that's why I'm here. I don't have the funds to do all this, but I've been driving and driving and driving. I've got me a car with, that gets really good gas mileage, and I'm down here and I'm meeting people. I met 3 or 4 people at the restaurant a while ago. I stop at the gas station, I stop at Walmart, I stop at Dollar General, I just want to talk to people. All I can say is that I'm going to be your voice for East Texas, not mine. I don't want to do this. Somebody got online the other day and was talking about, we don't need this old people in office. I agree. I'm 60 years old. I don't need to be running for office. But I'm the only one that stepped up on this party for this seat. Mm-hmm. I'm the only one here. I'm unopposed. Let's get in there. Let's get some. Let me show somebody that I can make a difference, and then we'll get some younger generations in here. We need younger people in here doing this stuff. I tell my dad that all the time. He's 87 years old, and I tell him, Dad, you have no business telling my son how he should live his life. Yeah, you're smart and you lived one, but it's totally different. It's 2 different lifestyles. It's hard for me to tell these younger generations what they need to do to save money and all this, but I just know $7.25 an hour ain't going to cut it. Mm-hmm. And that's ridiculous. All these subsidies. The corporations are the biggest welfare queens there are. And people are sitting there talking about, they're on food stamps, they need to get a job. People they're working 2 jobs. They're still on SNAP benefits. That's just wrong. I don't know exactly how to change it, but I know I'm going to try.
Mm-hmm. How can folks learn more about you?
I have a website. It's Tillman4Texas.com. You can get my email off of it, my phone number. You can call me anytime, email me anytime, and I'll respond to you. Like I said, I'm looking for volunteers. I don't have a campaign manager. I'm getting the best advice from the greatest of people, but it all involves money. Mm-hmm. Somebody told me I need to get a campaign manager, run stuff, and they said they only paid $10,000 when they did their campaign. $10,000 might be my entire campaign. Right. It's right now. I'm saving my money as best I can until closer to the general election. That's why you don't see any signs out anywhere of me right now. I'm unopposed, so I want to wait till we get closer to the election, and that's where we're going. I'm just trying to get endorsed by as many people as I can, and then I'm trying to just talk to everybody. Mm-hmm. I'm 60 years old. You probably, because you're in the newspaper business, but I've never met a senator in my life. Mm-hmm. That's my job. It's a job that you're in session every 2 years. Well, the other years you're supposed to go out and talk to people. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody ever come and talk to me about nothing. So I've tried. Whenever I was younger, I tried to get in the flooring business, I tried to help unionize it. I used to call our congressmen and senators all the time. I never even got a call back. Right. So, that's just where politics is now. They tell you all this stuff, and that's why, this property tax stuff. Every candidate in Texas right now is running on property tax. Mm-hmm. Abbott has ran on it for 16 years, and it's still there. And now he's talking about abolishing it all. He had the power to abolish it, before. Like I said, they're not hearing the hearings. There's a lot of good things out there, just they're not giving anybody the time or the hearings to see it, and to make a committee on it and understand it. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not, but they don't know. They're not researching it.
All right. Well, we've got real quick another rundown of these items here. Voters registration. If you're not registered to vote yet, February the 2nd is the deadline. Early voting is going to begin for the primaries on February the 17th. Election day is Tuesday, March the 3rd. The forums for Congressional District 9 and Senate District 3 contested races is February 11th at 6 p.m. at the Dayton Community Center. Following night, Precinct 2 and 4 Liberty County Commissioners and 75th and 253rd District Judges, also at 6 p.m. at the Dayton Community Center. And Mr. Tillman, want to give one more pitch to the voters?
Just give me a chance, guys. Like I said, I'm not going to make any promises because promises get broken. But I will guarantee you that I will do the best that I can with everything, every fiber of my being. I will try to be what East Texas wants. I mean, I want to be your voice. I don't think East Texas is being represented the way it should be. They're represented like Austin and Dallas and Houston, these bigger cities, and we have a unique district here. And first of all, we need to get out and vote. I mean, even if you don't vote for me, just vote. I mean, vote for, even if you're Republican, just get out and vote, because make your voices heard. We need to hear, if that's what East Texas wants, then that's what they're going to get. But for 30 years, they haven't. I mean, everybody's going to fix it. Everybody's going to fix it. They're going to fix it. It's been 30 years. I mean, how long does it take to fix something that you're in charge of? So I don't get it. But I just want to be the voice for East Texas. And like I said, I'm not a perfect person, and I've lived a long life. 60 years is good, but I can't sit by anymore. We need immigration reform. We need unions stronger. We need schools stronger. We need hospitals stronger. Veterans. We got to help everybody, guys. I'm old enough to remember when Texas was the friendly state. We were all friends. We were all come together. Your neighbor needed help. You go help him. Your neighbor, his house catches on fire. You brought food and your groceries and stuff like that. Right now we're so divided. This is ridiculous. We need to get together and be Texas again. And that's what I want to try to do. I'm not going to badmouth anybody or do anything. I want everybody to come together and let's build Texas back the way it used to be. So.
Well, Mr. Tillman, I wish you luck on the campaign trail, and we will see you.
I will see you on the 11th.
All right.
So I will be there at the Dayton Community Center for the next forum or whatever you call it.
Look forward to it.
So,
all right. Well, you can catch all of our candidate spotlights. You can click on the tab on our main menu bar on thevindicator.com, also on Facebook and our YouTube page. We'll make sure it's there for you to see, and look for more of these in the coming days.
And look for Tillman for Texas. Thanks, guys.